Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at Polestar. Polestar electric car sales disappointed in Q4 of 2023 with a 39% decrease. The focus on profitability almost stopped the brand's expansion in 2023. This is what Inside EV has to say. And I'm curious, how much has this really affected Polestar and what's the plan for the future, of course? Now, Polestar announced that its global electric car deliveries during the fourth quarter of 2023 amounted to approximately 12,800 units. It's a very worrying result with a 39% decrease in volume compared to Q4 2022, as well as one of the weakest quarters this year. Now, this is very interesting. It seems like Polestar has an explanation for this. They've explained that the volume is lower because the brand is focused more on profitability. The Polestar company has made a statement, and I quote, "Polestar continues to protect its exclusive brand position in what remains a challenging market, resulting in fewer deliveries in the fourth quarter, and now expect a gross profit margin for the full year around to break even." I'm just trying to understand if I heard that correctly. They're expecting the gross profit margin for the full year around break even. Now, if I'm thinking correctly, that's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing. They delivered less, but are you telling me that they've also lost less? I think that's exactly what we're trying to understand. This is very interesting. So Inside EV has to say, on the other hand, we can say that the company was not able to sell a higher number of cars at a profit, despite being able to produce them. Like in the previous period, the number of 12,800 cars include 880 Polestar 4 sold in China. Yes, we've started delivering the Polestar 4s in China. And there's even better information coming out that these vehicles are coming to Europe in the coming weeks, possibly months. Production started in November last year, which leaves around 11,920 of the Polestar 2 models. This is quite interesting. Up until now, we've seen Polestar only had one option to sell to the market. They've only had one vehicle to sell to the market thus far. Now they actually have the Polestar 4 to sell in China. And naturally, they're coming out with the Polestar 3 quite soon. It was delayed, along with the Volvo EX90. But these vehicles are coming to the market very soon. This is why I think that Polestar will do extremely well this year. Because let's be honest, now they can offer three vehicles that could compete so much better in this market. Now, if you're interested in a Polestar vehicle, you don't just have to be limited to the sedan of the Polestar 2. You've got the 3 and 4. The 3 is a competitor to the Model X. The 4 is a competitor to the Model Y. This is very interesting. So taking a look at the chart that Inside EV has on their website, you can clearly tell that last year in Q4, Polestar did extremely well. They did remarkable well, in fact, because they delivered over 20,000 vehicles in the final quarter of 2022. Did I say last year? Last year's 2023. We're still getting used to it. I believe Polestar doubled their number in 2022 Q4 compared to Q3 of 2022. They doubled the delivery number in one quarter. That's extraordinary. So now they're actually focused on profitability, and they know that they need to be profitable quite soon, or at least break even. And that seems to be a focus. That seems to be a huge vocal point in the company's approach last year, was to at least break even. Be patient. Let's bring new cars to the market. You know, Polestar is not the next Tesla. We've said this many times. They're not trying to be the next Tesla. Tesla's job is to get as many Tesla vehicles on the road as possible. And it's a genius idea because they're going to sell them software such as FSD. Polestar, on the other hand, is to be a bit more like Porsche. The quality of vehicles are much higher. The experience of the vehicle is much more higher. The expectation is exceeding. Polestar wants to build electric vehicles that are expensive, that are valuable, that people really want to have and enjoy, not just something that you drive just for practicality. And I'm glad that Polestar is at least sticking true to their brand value, that it's not about quantity, it's about quality. I'm glad that they're sticking to that. I've reiterated this so many times. People have said it's a Chinese company, so the cars won't be good. And I've thought, no. Volvo has always made great cars. They delayed the Polestar 3 and the Volvo EX90 for good reasons. because those cars clearly were not ready, and they delayed them knowing that it would be bad press, less money, less exposure. But the cars, when they do finally come out this year, early this year, the cars will be damn near perfect with minimal issues. That's the way you launch the most important vehicles in your lineup for the future. These vehicles will be very important to Volvo and Polestar's future. This is how you do it correctly. So clearly, the company is putting quality over quantity. They care more about having great quality vehicles rather than just selling a lot of vehicles. This is great. They sticking to what they've said. So far, they've kept their words. So Polestar delivered around 54,000 vehicles, or 54,600 electric vehicles in 2023, which is a 6% more than the year before. The relatively slow Q4 almost led to a decline in the annual results, almost, but they made sure it didn't. You know, there's a lot of traditional companies that are struggling to increase their sales by 6% year over year. I'm just saying. I'm not going to name names. It looks like with the Polestar 2, it increased in sales by over 4%. What increased it to 6% was actually the Polestar 4 being launched in China and being delivered. That's quite extraordinary. So they're saying the results are disappointing, as the company initially planned to sell 80,000 vehicles in 2023. That is true, they did. But remember, they intended to bring the Polestar 3 to the market last year. That all changed, which means that the plan changed. They went from, okay, we want to deliver 80,000 vehicles, but we can't deliver the Polestar 3, so we have to reduce our numbers. That's completely understandable. But how can we do this in the best way? Well, we can focus on profitability and quality over quantity. For me, this is not a negative. This is actually a positive for Polestar, especially if they did achieve, if the gross profit margins for their full year are around break even, that's a positive. That's a positive. That's just with one vehicle, plus the 880 Polestar 4s. But you get my point. What can they do when they introduce the Polestar 4 to the entire world, to all their markets? What happens when they introduce the Polestar 3 to all their markets? The Polestar 3 is a vehicle that will make them the most money. Could Polestar even be profitable this year? I mean, it's a crazy idea. But if gross profit margins for the full year are around break even, I don't want to get excited, but I'm just saying, I think this is going to be a very good year for Polestar vehicles. We're going to see them on the road. I'm going to be proud to be a shareholder. We're going to watch as the market and the media has a different narrative and a different reaction to what the Polestar brand is capable of. This is 2024. 2025, that's when Polestar intends to be cash flow positive. And to be honest, it seems like they're on the right path, and I'm continuing to champion this company and the Volvo company as well. I won't stop. Now, Inside EV did make a good point. They basically stated that Polestar moved their numbers from 80,000 vehicles to around 60 to 70,000 vehicles. They didn't even accomplish 60,000 vehicles. By delivering few vehicles, if this actually results in the margins break even, that's a positive. That's a great takeaway. That's a positive takeaway. How they've managed to accomplish that, I'm going to be fascinated to find out. So Thomas Singler, Polestar CEO, comments, and I quote, "The Polestar 4 has been very well received in China and is ramping up production was an important milestone for us. Sales of our SUV coupe will start in Europe and in Australia in the coming weeks." In the coming weeks, by the way, in the coming weeks, with the first deliveries for the Polestar 3 expected in the summer. Our shift from being one of the 3 car companies positions us for a transformative and exciting 2024. You heard it here first. Polestar 4 is coming to the market in the next few weeks. The Polestar 3, on the other hand, that's coming in the summer. So we're looking at Q3, probably late Q2 at the earliest. But still, that also means that the Volvo EX90 will be coming to the market perhaps around the same time. Or to be honest, I'm not even sure if they're going to launch them at the same time, but it's going to be interesting to see. Those vehicles, they do offer different experience. The Volvo EX90 is a big family vehicle. The Polestar 3, it's a sport SUV. It's different. It's different. I'm just saying. Now, that is it for today's video, to be honest. I do hope you've enjoyed this video. And this is never financial advice, it's just my opinion. Earnings are around April the 12th, by the way, 2024. The share price has never been this cheap. Needless to say, I'm enjoying it because I'm buying more shares. cheaper it gets on buying more shares. Not financial advice, it's just my opinion. But that's it for today's video. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.